Danny and the Juniors were an American doo-wop and rock and roll group that gained fame in the late 1950s. They are best known for their hit songs At the Hop and Rock and Roll Is Here to Stay, which became anthems of the early rock and roll era. The group was formed in 1955 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, by four high school friends, Danny Rapp, Joe Terranova, later known as Joe Terry, Dave White, born David White Tricker, and Frank Maffei. Originally called the Juvenaires, the group performed locally at school dances and parties, singing a mix of doo-wop and early rock and roll. They honed their harmonies and stage presence, quickly gaining a following in the Philadelphia area. Their big break came in 1957 when they were discovered by songwriter and producer Artie Singer, who took an interest in the group and helped them land a recording contract. Singer, along with Dave White, co-wrote a song for the group titled Do the Bop. However, when Dick Clark, host of the popular television show American Bandstand, suggested that the dance craze called the bop might soon fade, the song was reworked and retitled At the Hop. At the Hop was released in late 1957, and it quickly became a massive hit. The song's infectious rhythm, catchy lyrics, and energetic vocals perfectly captured the spirit of the rock and roll dance craze sweeping the nation. It reached number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 in January 1958 and stayed at the top of the charts for 5 weeks. The success of At the Hop catapulted Danny and the Juniors to national fame, making them one of the hottest acts of the late 1950s. Following the success of At the Hop, the group released another hit single, Rock and Roll Is Here to Stay, in 1958. The song was written by Dave White in response to critics who claimed that rock and roll was just a passing fad. The lyrics declared that rock and roll was a permanent part of the music landscape, and the song became a rallying cry for the genre's fans. It reached number 19 on the Billboard Hot 100, further cementing the group's place in rock and roll history. Danny and the Juniors continued to release singles throughout the late 1950s and early 1960s, including Twistin' USA and Pony Express, though none matched the success of their earlier hits. As musical tastes shifted in the 1960s, with the rise of the British invasion and other new trends, the group's popularity began to decline. Despite the changing music scene, Danny and the Juniors remained active as a touring act, performing on the oldies circuit and in rock and roll revival shows. The group underwent several lineup changes over the years, but Danny Rapp remained the lead singer and driving force behind the band. Tragically, Rapp's life ended in 1983 when he died by suicide in Arizona, a sad close to his chapter in the rock and roll story. Although their time at the top was brief, Danny and the Juniors left an indelible mark on the history of rock and roll. At the Hop and Rock and Roll Is Here to Stay remain iconic songs of the 1950s, capturing the exuberance and energy of the early days of rock music. Their legacy continues to be celebrated by fans of the era, and their contributions to the genre have earned them a lasting place in the annals of rock and roll history. There are thousands more great videos like this on the channel. Please take a look, share and subscribe, or visit the Bonswivit shop on eBay, which has over 250,000 rare and collectible items listed.